preparedness among both the learners, the teachers, and even parents and guardians. To help us unpack all this in studio, we have Silas Obuhatsa, National Chair, Parents Association, and Bernard Oyama, who is the Director at the Joy Education Center. Welcome, and thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you.
A lot of conversation going on, discussions, and of course views, especially from the education sector. But as we receive these views, we have less than 2 weeks, before grade 6 pupils could go to junior high. Let me start with you, Silas. There are a lot of claims that this was rushed, but where we are right now, are we supposed to be having these conversations, or what to do to ensure that there is a smooth transition of these grade 6 learners to junior high?
Thank you very much. I would say that one is that we all need to understand that the education systems keep on changing. So a time has come that we have to change it to CBC. And what I want to say to tell everybody, not only parents, all Kenyans, that CBC is there to stay. And therefore, when you talk about preparedness, even Rome was not built in a day. It took some time for Rome to be built because it's a big city. And so curriculum implementation is not an easy thing. Right now, the government has done its preparations, and they have kept on updating the country to keep it in mode of that transition, that the transition is going to take place. So when we talk about preparedness, we are saying that we cannot have 100% preparedness. We cannot, and we shall not do that. It will never happen, because one or two things will still be lacking. So up to where we are right now, I would say that what the government has done and has put in place for CBC transition of our children to junior secondary school makes sense, that the children should transit. And other preparations can be done with the time. I want to speak to address the issues of parents concerned about the transition. One is that parents need to be very calm, very patient, very understanding, and give the government time to put this in place. Because the other day you saw the CS was very clear. The CS was very clear that they have done a lot. Like now they have bought textbooks for all the learners who are going to join CBC, at least a textbook per subject. These are many textbooks that the government has bought. If we were to buy these books, we as parents, it would be very expensive. Two, the question of uniform. We are saying that uniform is not it's not something that has to kill one. There should be an agreement, and there's leeway. We must understand that uniform, first of all, makes sense. It's very unique. Uniform makes students be identified with a particular school. It's a sense of belonging. So when the government says that students must go in uniform, and special uniform, they have a good reason behind that. That the students must be identified by those schools. They must identify themselves by the uniform to their schools. Yeah. So we support the government that uniform must be in place. The government having given 15,000 shillings per parent in public primary schools towards the junior secondary school fees payment. Already part of the burden has been solved. I was so concerned that the government was just going to say that parents should meet the costs of junior secondary school on their own. This would have been very, very difficult. So this is part of the things we are saying, that we are prepared for transition to go on. Let the government's wish take place. Let the parents and other stakeholders support this. I have seen our friends from the civil society group trying to say that CBC should be done away with. We go back to the old system. These are senior people in the education sector, the stakeholders. They ought to understand that transition has to take place, and change of curriculum must take place, because we are looking at the global world market with all these skills that are required. With our children not having these skills, where are they going to be in future? Yeah. So changing back, just to finish, changing back again, saying that we go back to 844 system with all this money that we have put in the preparation of CBC will be a big waste. This is taxpayers' money, and we can't allow that kind of money to be wasted again. We go back to the system that has been there with the issues up and down. Everybody has been crying that 844 system is a problem. We got the new system, and the new system has come. Let us embrace this and support the government.
And yes. Oyama, what Silas is saying is that what the government has done so far to ensure this transition makes sense. I'm quoting him. Let me come directly to you, your school. How prepared are you as a school?
Thank you, Madam Purity. Once again, I'm Bernard Oyama, Director of Joy Education Center. In addition to that, I'm the Upbet Kasarani Sub-County Chairman. Right. Allow me to say that CBC is the best curriculum so far. Nevertheless, I want to say that it is an idea which was rushed with. Because you will realize that right now the government officers are on the ground working on the issues to do with the readiness, preparedness of the schools towards the junior secondary school. And as I was seeing and seeing the government getting around our schools, I realized that 3/4 of our schools are not ready to proceed to the junior secondary school. Or, you know, this issue of grade 7 being domicile. I think this word was just pronounced some weeks ago. And before that, the government used to tell us that the grade 7 are supposed to be hosted in the secondary schools. So through this...
That's grade 6?
That is grade 6. Yeah. They were supposed to be hosted in secondary school. And that is why the government took time to build 10,000 classrooms. So if it took the government to build 10,000 classrooms, and I believe that the least number, the public schools classrooms are needed around 48,000. So if the government took 1 year to build 10 secondary schools, how many years will it take the government to build another 38 secondary schools? That is, say, something to do with another 2 years. So I want to say that as much as schools are prepared, more so the private schools, as much as they are prepared to host the JSS, is less than 50%. We have done very little. A good example, in my school, Joy Education Center, I come over those sides of Lakisama. You will realize that I've not even done 30%, yet we have barely a fortnight to open the school. So I want to say that here categorically that we are not yet ready to host the junior secondary school in our institutions. Something needs to be done before opening and after opening.
So that's infrastructure-wise?
Infrastructure,
yes.
The schools are not ready. And that is why you realize that most of the schools, you realize they were not approved, not approved. And once you say that the schools are not approved, a good example, from Kasarani sub-county, we are around 400 UPBET institutions. So most of them, as I was going through the list, yes, I realized that nearly 3/4 of them have not been approved. That is to say, where are we going to take our schools? In addition to that, we have less public schools. Like Lakisama's award, where I come from, where my school is located, there is no any single public school. So if we are being told that we are not approved because of the infrastructure, where are we going to take our children? That one begs for an answer. Yes. Thank you.
All right. And Silas, your comment on the same, and also you said that you are worried about the financial burden, but there are questions coming up. Is the 15,000 shillings enough, or parents are again going to be overburdened with more school fees?
Just before I go to that, maybe yes. I want to differ with my friend a bit. The government has put in place measures on how transition is going to take place. The other day, they explained clearly that the schools that have not been approved, they'll have their children move. Those that have grade 6 children who have done CBC exams would be moved to the nearest schools that are offering CBC. We accept that because we cannot afford to have children stay at home again. Children have been at home for a longer period, from November up to now. We expect them again to stay another 2-3 months at home. Many will be affected. Many will drop out of school. Many will just give up. So we must move very fast and follow what the government is saying. We take a step. Let us try this way first. The issue of the distance comes in. I know that children moving from one place to another. The issue of security. We are asking the government to do something about the issue of the distance and the security. We never know, there might be public buses used. Like the resources. The head of state said that we share resources. So he may also go ahead and call on Good Samaritans to come in again. Like in Lakisama, he may ask that the private schools that have got buses, they offer to transport both public and private children to the nearest institutions. He may or he should? He may ask that, he may request, not to order. He may request, that's business. He may request. So the question that schools don't have enough infrastructure, they are not prepared. I said it cannot happen in a day. And I give an example of Rome that was not built in a day. That's why the ministry is saying, let us try with what we have as we go ahead. So we have to, let us embrace that one. Let Kenyans understand that we work as a team and have our children back in school. The question of 15,000, to begin with 15,000 for now, I think it's good money, other than zero, nothing. Who would have given a parent 15,000 shillings to take the child to school if the government had not done that? So let us appeal that we have been given 15,000 to begin with, but with the time, it can increase gradually, just like it happens in the 844 secondary school systems. I think that can work. Yeah, and then the other thing I say is this one. I have a few things to say. Let the government think of funding education fully in this country. They should make a system. If the parents feel that 15,000 is very little money, let the government think about increasing this amount of money. If they feel that they need to put more classrooms, already CDF is out. The members of parliament have been instructed to make sure that schools have been constructed, labs and classrooms more are in place. So already infrastructure is going on, is in place, taking place right now. And therefore, we need to appreciate that the government has done a lot on this. Thank you.
Let's talk about the preparedness in terms of training of teachers. When the government, through the Ministry of Education, released the Grade 6 assessment report, there was a statement that parents should consult with the teachers to understand the results of their learners because they are complex. So, to you, Mr. Bernard, are teachers trained to even understand what the report says? Have you actually received the report of your learners, and have you tried explaining to your parents how the performance of their learners is like?
Thank you very much, Purity. I want to say categorically that still I'm on the repeat that we are not much prepared in many areas. When you talk about the parents receiving the results, yesterday I was trying to key in the portal, the NEC portal. There was an issue of an error. I tried it this morning, it went through. So the parents are still coming to school to check whether their children, you know, we had done already 60% and the CAPSIA, which we did just the other time, was 40%. So you realize that the parents are still flocking in our schools. Maybe you can give us details about the report? Is it the normal results that we saw the KCPE candidates receive? Actually, it's not the normal report because you can see it has got no this jubilation that we received during KCPE following that we had done 60% and we had remained with 40% that was conducted last term. So you will realize that it was just normal assessment. In fact, this assessment is just to evaluate the CBC and not to evaluate the learners, that is to say. Yeah. So you will realize that the parents are not taking it keenly, being that, in fact, just to reiterate what he said about the uniform, this uniform is just meant for identification that a certain transition has taken place because they are going to share the same toilets, the same compound, everything the same, and not in fact even the head teacher the same. The only difference is only the uniform. So these are all reasons to say that we are not all that prepared. Yeah. Okay, and we have to wrap up. Silas, let me welcome in 30 seconds your winding remarks.
I want to say this one. I still repeat, the issue of uniform is necessary. Let the students go to school in uniform. They are given a leeway. They can negotiate with the head teachers and principals on how they can go about the school uniform. We are supporting the government on that one strongly. Two, I support that transition must take place. We cannot go back to the 844 system. We cannot waste the funds that have been used on building up CBC. Three, I request the government to have more teachers employed and more teachers trained on time to absorb this question of preparedness. Parents need to be trained. Parents don't understand what CBC is. That's why they're not ready to support CBC. But if they are trained to understand what CBC is, they will support that. To the other stakeholders who are coming in, those that are calling for us to go back to 844 and the other systems, we shall be going back to the colonial type of system of ruling in the past. We are free. We are independent to do our own things in Kenya. Let's not go back to the 844 system that was found to be wasting our children. All right. Let us go for CBC because it's skill-oriented. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Silas Obuhatsa and Bernard Oyama, for your time. We do appreciate. We shall keep this conversation going some other time, but now we have to wrap it up. All right, and thank you for watching News Center. This morning, many thanks for your company. I'm Purity Musianzuki. I'll see you again at 1 o'clock with News Desk. Keep watching KTN News. Thank you so much.